Hello everyone. In the last two videos we looked at quite a few glitches. Some were purely visual, others were affecting something behind the scenes. Some were quite easy, others were rather difficult. Some were helpful, others were not so helpful. Some were pretty cool, others were just plain weird. Much like the game itself, these glitches are strange, but for some reason, oddly satisfying. Of course, we're not done yet. I still have a couple of glitches I want to show you. But before we start, I should mention that I performed these glitches on the Collector's Edition version of the game on GameCube, and while I'm certain all these glitches can be done on any version, if there are some that don't work, then perhaps that is why. One last thing, I also captured the video directly from the AV composite output of a GameCube, so unfortunately the resolution will be 480p with an aspect ratio of 4:3. Hopefully that isn't too much of a bother, but with that out of the way, let's take a look at some more glitches in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Let's start with some small glitches first. If you strike this torch in the bomber's hideout, you'll get launched backwards for some reason. Similarly, if you hit the baby Goron's bed while on the carpet, you'll slide backwards a bit. I'm not even sure if these are actual glitches or just the way physics work in this game, but they were on the website where I learned the other glitches, so I guess I'll include them. Another small glitch. At midnight, Kamaro will appear on this mushroom-shaped rock, and his theme will play if you're nearby. However, if you equip Kamaro's mask and dance for a bit, his theme will be glitched out for just one loop. This one's another small one, but it's actually pretty neat. Go to a wall and roll. As Link is getting up, go into first person view. Because of the way he's positioned, his face will go through the wall and allow you to see what's on the other side. It isn't too useful because a lot of things get culled out, but it is cool to see things in a way you're not supposed to. You can also use this to look through tall grass to see what's hidden in there. Strangely enough, there is no ground underneath, but I suppose it makes sense since you're never supposed to actually see what's under there anyway. So I guess it's just good resource management. Okay, let's take a break from small glitches and move on to a glitch that can help you get around more quickly. Super sliding. I actually tried to get footage for this from my last video, but I couldn't seem to get it to work with the setup I was trying. What you're supposed to do is very similar to the ground jump from my last video. Take out a bomb and drop it, then while shielding, roll into it and try to pick it up mid-roll right at the same time as it explodes. I'm not sure if I just didn't have the timing right or if it was patched on my version, so I tried a different setup. Go near a choo-choo and some grass, then roll while shielding and try to pick up the grass right as the choo-choo hits you. If done right, you'll slide backwards very quickly until you stop shielding. Unlike the bomb method, this actually worked for me and I got it pretty reliably. Again, I'm not sure if I just had it wrong or if it was patched, but if you know the answer, please leave a comment explaining it. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so I was pretty much done editing the video, but then I thought I can try to do the glitch one more time with the original method to see if I can get it. Unfortunately, I could not, as you can see here. But after about a minute or two, I thought that maybe I should try using two bombs so that I can pick up the second one as the first one explodes, and maybe that might be easier. And I don't know, maybe it's a placebo, but I thought it was actually easier and it actually worked for me. So I figured I would include it in the video as like a second method, or a third method I guess. But yeah, it's nothing too groundbreaking, I just figured I should include it. Anyway, sorry for the interruption, let's go back to the script. Okay, let's go back to the small glitches again. There's actually a glitch in the game that lets you take a picture of Link. When you open the pictograph box, the camera will briefly pan into a first-person perspective. If you're fast enough, you can actually take a pictograph of Link during this brief movement. If you're facing away from the camera, you'll get a back shot, and if you're facing the camera, you'll get a front shot, although I wasn't fast enough, so I kept getting these side and diagonal shots. The glitch is entirely useless, but it's actually kind of fun to take a picture of yourself like this. Kind of makes it look like Link is making a holiday scrapbook. There's a really easy out of bounds trick that you can do in the laundry pool as Zora Link. Just stand about here and face the wall. Then side hop and hold forward and Link should grab the ledge. Once you're up here, you can actually walk around on the wall, but there isn't too much to do up here and falling off will just void you out. However, if you stand around this angle near Cafe's home, side hop and then jump attack, you should be able to make it into the loading zone on the other side of the door and get into Cafe's place when you're not supposed to. Unfortunately, you can't use this trick to skip parts of the Couples Mask side quest, as the trigger that lets Cafe open up to you is never activated. However, later on in this video I will show a glitch that lets you skip pretty much the entire side quest, so stay tuned. Anyway, back to the glitches again. In Clocktown there are these post boxes everywhere. If you have the Great Fairy Sword in hand while you try to deposit into one of the post boxes, it'll turn invisible. This also works with a hookshot and bow, but it's harder to notice since Link's animations don't really change when carrying them. Okay, time for a crazy glitch. This one has a somewhat humorous name. The Dog of Disorder. If you do the dog swimming in your hands glitch that I showed in part 1, but you have the Mask of Truth on, you can actually target the dog while you're carrying it. If you do this, Link will start spinning around out of control trying to get the right angle on the dog. You have to be careful with this glitch, however, because I noticed that when you go under this ramp while spinning, it'll soft lock the game. In the Pirate's Fortress, there are these rooms where you have to fight a Gerudo guard. If you hookshot a torch before the fight starts, however, Link will just be suspended in midair while in the hookshot pose. After you close the text box, Link will zoom over to the torch, but the Gerudo will not face the right way, making it look like Link is just kind of a random background character. It definitely makes for a very funny looking glitch. When Link is suspended in the air like this, he kinda looks like he's doing a superhero pose, hence why the glitch is called Super Link. Okay, time for something useful. To get into Romani's ranch the normal way, you have to use a powder keg to blow up this boulder that's blocking the way. The thing is, in order to get powder kegs, you have to have beaten Snowhead Temple, which can take a while to do. However, you can use bomb hovering to get over the boulder much earlier. Get ISG on this sign and then go to this incline here and angle yourself like this. Now just hover until you get onto the ledge. Once you're up here, swing your sword to get rid of ISG and follow the wall up to the boulder. To get behind it, roll and jump while holding right. Now you can just walk through. As long as you have the bow, you can then go on to unlock Epona early. Just keep in mind that in order to leave the ranch, you have to warp out because the boulder is still there. Okay, remember how earlier in the video I said that there was a glitch that let you skip essentially all of the Couples Mask side quest? Well, this is it. It's called Sakon's Hideout Early. Angle yourself so that you're facing the crack between the wall and the stone door like this. Then just roll into it. As soon as you jump, hold left, and you should make it to the other side without voiding out. This is actually easier to do with the bunny hood since you don't have to roll, but either way works. If you do this on the third day, you can actually help Cafe get the Sun's mask back just as normal, with the only difference being that he's still wearing the Keaton's mask. Of course, once you get the Sun's mask back, you can clip inside again and do the whole thing all over. As a little bonus tip, be careful not to fall in this hole as Cafe, as you won't be able to escape and you'll fail. Although, it is kind of funny watching the Sun's mask literally fall right on top of him. Anyway, doing this clip on day 3 will let us skip doing most of the Cafe and Andrew's side quest. However, weird stuff happens if you try this on day 1. First of all, Cafe isn't even there, so no cutscene plays upon entering. Standing on the switch will open the door, but when you step off, it'll close. You can try to get through, but if you're not quick enough, you'll get crushed by the door and respawn back outside the hideout. However, using Goron Link's roll will be just fast enough to barely make it through. If you push this block onto the next switch, Cafe will just randomly appear out of nowhere for a second, and you'll be teleported back outside of the room. You can try to keep doing the rest as normal, but you'll get stuck once you make it into this room. Of course, I wasn't quite satisfied with this, and I wanted to see if bomb hovering can get me out. It did, but then I accidentally fell off the map and I respawned in a weird way that just made me keep falling for eternity, essentially soft locking the game. I tried again, but this time I did it right and got to the next room. There wasn't much over here, so I hovered again into the last room. Once here, I stepped on the switch and waited, but nothing happened. Then I looked and I saw that, for some reason, the sun's mask just wasn't moving, so it was actually impossible to complete the task by myself. I played around for a bit, and I found out if Link gets stuck in the hole, he can escape by turning into Zora Link and just climbing out. I also found that you can walk on top of the conveyor belt, but I accidentally fell off almost immediately, and I didn't have enough bombs to get back, so that was the end of the glitch for me. Okay, that was a lot, so let's just summarize that real quick. Aligning yourself to the crack between the wall and the door and rolling into it will clip you inside. And if you do it on the third day, everything will be normal, but if you do it on the first day, everything will be weird. That was a lot, but now we're done with this glitch, so let's move on to the last glitch I'll be showing in this video. When I was younger, I used to think of this last glitch as the holy grail of all glitches in this game. If you've collected every mask in the game and given them to the Moon Children, Majora will give you the Fierce Deity's mask, which will allow you to turn into Fierce Deity Link. Fierce Deity Link is, like the name suggests, essentially a very powerful demigod. So powerful, in fact, that he can defeat all of the game's bosses in mere seconds, including Majora itself. The catch is that you can only use the mask in boss rooms and nowhere else. However, this glitch allows you to be Fierce Deity Link pretty much anywhere. What you gotta do is go to a body of water where Zora Link could swim but also stand, if that makes sense. An easy way to set this up is to get waist deep in water as Zora Link, turn into Human Link and dive, and then when Link is at the bottom, turn back into Zora Link. He should be standing, but the B button should say dive. Next, you want to mash the B button and press the button the Zora mask is set to while still mashing B. The B button icon should turn transparent. Now just hold A to swim and hold forward and Link should roll. Now both the A and B buttons should be blank. Now just equip the Fierce Deity's mask to the same button that the Zora mask is equipped to, put it on, and that's it! Now you're Fierce Deity Link outside of boss rooms. Unfortunately, despite the fact that he still used magic, the sword beams don't work on regular enemies, which is a shame because that's part of what made him so overpowered. His sword is still very powerful though, so feel free to show those enemies who's boss. As a side note, you actually can't put your sword away, but this can actually work to your advantage because now you're immune to the blue bubbles' curse, so there's pretty much nothing stopping you. Except for big octos. I guess they're just too strong. If you want to take the mask off, you'll have to enter a body of water that's deep enough for you to swim in, and then put the Zora mask on. If you go into Clock Town as Fierce Deity Link, it'll become immediately apparent just how much bigger he is than normal Link, as he can climb up just about anything. While it is fun to mess around here, just be careful about talking to NPCs, as some of them, like the bombers, will softlock the game upon talking to them. Entering certain buildings will also softlock the game as you're too tall to open the doors from the inside. Strangely enough, the guards won't let you leave. When you talk to them, they say they'll let you pass, but then immediately block you again. This means that there are only two ways to leave Clock Town. You can either swim in the stream in the Clock Tower and turn into Zora Link that way, or you can go to this guard in East Clock Town, backwalk into this corner, and then talk to him. This will clip you through him and allow you to escape. It's pretty much the same method that you would use to get Deku Link out in Determina Field. While I used to love this glitch, unfortunately there really isn't much that it can do. While earlier I did say that you can use this glitch to become Fierce Deity Link anywhere, that's really only true in theory. You see, because the Fierce Deity cannot use any items or transform into his other forms at will, pretty much every area of the game is completely inaccessible to you. While it is possible to get to some of these areas by clearing a path beforehand, namely Snowhead Mountain, that's kinda tedious and honestly not really worth it because once you're at the place you want to be, there's not really much you can do as Fierce Deity Link. I suppose you could have some fun by using the Fierce Deity's larger size to figure out alternate methods around, but overall, it's kind of pointless because, like I said earlier, there's really not much that the Fierce Deity Link can do. Heck, even his overpowered sword isn't really much of a reason to use him because, as it turns out, it actually has the same damage output as the Great Fairy Sword, which is a weapon that normal Link can already use. I guess in the end, this glitch isn't quite as useful as one would hope, but it's still really fun to mess around with simply because you're doing something you're not supposed to. In the end, I guess that's why most glitches are fun. There's a certain charm to being able to do things you're not supposed to be able to do, even if, ultimately, they don't change anything. Anyway, that about does it for this video. I had a blast making these, but while there's still more glitches to show in the game, I'm probably not going to make a part 4 anytime soon. Maybe sometime in the future I will, but for now, I'm going to move on to other projects. If you liked this video, a like would be appreciated, and if you really liked the video and you want to see more, a subscribe would be awesome. Of course, if you don't want to do that, I'm fine with that too. Just the fact that someone watched this is enough for me, honestly. Also, I didn't mention this in the other videos, but I actually have a gameplay channel where I do Let's Plays and the like. If you're interested in checking that out, I'll leave a link to it in the description. But anyway, with that said, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you later.